moving right along. Brand versus blind advertising. Brand advertising is an advertisement that attaches a dealership's name on it. Blind advertising generates prospects without attaching the dealership name or the brand name. Now, the reason that we use blind advertising is because we will use blind advertising to scream whatever message that we want to scream without having the dealership's name on it. So if I want to say good credit, bad credit, come see us, I'm going to use blind advertising. The magic of blind advertising is the ability to bypass market share issues. Let's talk about that a little bit. Joe, you have a Isuzu franchise, right? What's market share for Isuzu in the great United States of America? Do they have even a market share? Do they even show up on the Richter scale? Very minor. What about Suzuki? Tom, you can't say anything. What about Suzuki? What's their market share? Try 0.03 of 1%. That means out of 100 people, there's an arm and a leg thinking about a Suzuki. Now, how much money can you spend to attract customers to come buy a Suzuki from you? Is there a certain amount of money out there? Suzuki of Japan might have that money, but they're not willing to invest it in the United States, so why would you? Should you brand your dealership? Absolutely. But if you're going to scream Suzuki, the only people that are listening is the ones that you're going to put together after having 300 people heard the message. 2 arms, 2 legs, a body, steal a couple of eyes, boom, you got a humanoid. On the other hand, when you are talking with Toyota, what's their market share? Anybody can tell me? 23%. Now you understand why Toyota dealers don't have traffic problems when they scream Toyota. Because the minute that you scream Toyota, there's 23 people listening. If you're a Ford dealer, there's 12 people listening. If you're a Chrysler dealer, it's 6% listening. If you're a Ford dealer in California, there's 3% people listening. Nobody want to buy a Ford in California, right? So all these numbers are very important. It's not just a matter of putting an advertising campaign and just throwing it out there. You have to kind of look at market share and figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So if you spend $100,000 saying, come buy a Suzuki, it has a 100,000-mile warranty on it, anybody going to come listen? I'll give you an example. There's a gentleman that has multiple dealerships, and some of them are Toyota, Chrysler, Dodge. I mean, this guy is a big dealer. He has 12, 13 franchises. And I'm going to talk to you about a couple of things here. One is the paper and one is the brand. And what he has done in the past is he puts, price leaders on the paper and he says, I'm going to give this away. And people respond. And he says, I spent $10,000 on a Toyota ad, and I give somebody a certain price, and that price is pretty aggressive. We're behind holdback and all that stuff, and people just kind of read the ad, make a phone call, stop by at the dealership and get it. He did the same thing on a Suzuki product, only he put it on an XL7, but he put it on a Grand Vitara price. There's $10,000 difference. Now, let me back up a little bit. One time, he put a Toyota product in there, and he actually put like a $2,000 offset price. It was a mistake. And he received like 4 or 5 phone calls, and people are very upset, and they said, you need to sell me the car for that price. And of course, he couldn't, and he had the letter from the paper saying it was a misquote and all that. Now, if he put that same product as a Toyota, and it was $10,000 less, how many calls would he have got on that Toyota? A lot, right? Okay. Even if it is the paper, it'd still be a lot of calls, right? Okay. How many calls did he get on the XL7? Come on, it's a full-page ad. The answer is 0. How many people care about your brand? Manufacturer brand. Not many. That's why you have to create your own brand. You might want to attach the manufacturer for legitimacy, but your own brand is the one that's going to be part of the community. And if that's the case, you're going to have to send the message loud and clear to everybody that we are the community. We are part of you guys. So far, so good? Does that make sense? Okay. So if you guys want to go through the exercise on page 103, number 4, all you have to do is plug in your market share of your manufacturer and figure out how effective is that advertising if you are screaming your dealership name with that particular brand behind it. It's very, very upsetting, unless you have a Toyota store or something like that. Then it becomes easy. All right. By the way, an effective message that relates to all customers capture 100% of those interested. Wow, boy, I'm stating the obvious here, huh? What do you guys think of that statement? Some brain surgeon stuff, isn't it? All right, good stuff. Good versus bad blind advertising. Good blind advertising generates lead that will fit within my budget. Now, what is my budget? Does big budget means big success? Absolutely not. What is your current cost per lead? Can anybody tell me? What is your conversion rate? Do we know? What is your gross profit per sale for those leads? Are we even close to measuring all that stuff? Well, I suggest before you spend another $100,000, whether it's quarterly or monthly, you should have a very hard look at that stuff and measure it. If you advertise, you must track the results. Because you're spending money, that money you're working really hard for, and we want to track the results. Because if you don't get the right results, and you keep doing it, insanity is keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, am I right? So we want to change. Bad blind advertising generate weak and expensive leads. What is a bad lead when it's a blind advertising? Can somebody give me an example? Bad phone number? Well, yeah, okay. What about those calls that says, you stop by the dealership, I'm going to give you a DVD player? How much of a circus are you going to have? Are you really attracting good customers to come to the dealership, or are you attracting those nice people that are just interested in getting a free DVD player? All right, now, is there a place for that? A grand opening, you want people to know where you're at. It's very hard to find your dealership. You're giving everybody, you have to give everybody a reason to come to see your dealership. Fine, you should do that once, maybe twice, just to kind of get everybody familiarized. But if it's part of your advertising forte where you're just constantly doing that, it won't work. Because all you're doing is burning your salespeople and burning your managers, because that particular customer, all he's interested to do is come into the dealership, say, hey man, I want my DVD. I want my DVD player. I want my DVD player. Well, hold on a second. We ran out. Let's go to Walmart and get some more. Okay, but I still want my DVD player. Can I give you a gift certificate? No, I don't want to drive to Walmart. I want to get my DVD player. You said, I want to have my DVD player. Can I have my DVD player? Now, how much energy did that take from your finance manager or your sales manager? Who said, help me, I'm giving them traffic. No. You're supposed to give them prospects, not traffic. If you want traffic, just have a car wreck right in front of your dealership, and the only way they can go around it is by going through your dealership. You'll force them to have traffic, am I right? Okay. And maybe a car wash with some good scenery. That'll stop traffic too. All right, moving right along. Can we do that? Okay. Advertising tracking. Do you know exactly how many sales each and every one of your ads generate? Do you? Well, I got a big question for you right after this, guys. Would you keep a salesperson who averages 3 car deals a month? Would you? Well, why are you keeping some of your advertisers and they're averaging no deals a month? Go ahead. Tell me. Well, I don't know if they are or not. You know, there's a lot of 20 groups. There were some fantastic, wonderful dealers, and some of them say the most profound things that I've ever heard in my life. This one guy just spends an incredible amount of money, and he says, you know, I'm doing well. I'm generating a strong 7-figure income, and things are great. And I know 50% of my advertising does not work. I know that for a fact. But I just don't know which 50, so I don't know which one to cut. How long is that going to be acceptable? It won't be, is it? Okay. If not, why in the world would you spend tens of thousands of dollars each and every month on an advertising without knowing how many leads and how many sales it's generating? Is it all about leads? I believe so. I think you get your unfair share of leads, you work those customers the right way, you set enough appointments, and you have the right sales process, you're going to end up selling a lot of cars. But there's some situation where you get a lead, you generate a sale, and it's big gross, and that should be worth it too. So it's not just a numbers game, it's also an effectiveness. Okay, keys to advertising success. 1, track the effectiveness of each and every lead. No exceptions. Period. If you have a hot girl and she's the rep of the paper and she comes in and smiles at you and buy you lunch, congratulations, man. There's a lot cheaper way to get those smiles. Let's stop it. I am going to measure all those vendors according to the results that they are going to produce. You liking somebody has nothing to do with it. I believe every advertising agency and every advertising vendor has to be emotionally involved in your success. They have to care. They have to wake up at night thinking about your account. They also have to be accountable. And more importantly, they have to come up with some fresh ideas to help you overcome all the things that you have to overcome. Because the last thing that you want is to have an advertising agency to come down and sit down with you and says, well, what are we going to do this month? Good. That's a great question. Why don't you tell me? Because I have my dealership to run. And I have a couple of ideas, but I really would like to sit down with you and you tell me what you have thought of what we're going to do. And I'll pick 1 or 2 ideas and we'll make one of them good. But if I'm hiring you as an advertising agency and you're my creative advertising agency, you better come up with some good ideas. And there's a lot of advertising agencies out there right now that are very specialized in TV, very specialized in direct mail, very specialized in paper, very specialized in 30-second, very specialized in radio. That's wonderful. You want something that can capture every single segment of those advertising resources that you have. So if you're interested in buying 2,000 leads, you need to be satisfying that. If you're interested in doing a direct mail campaign, they need to be able to do that. And everything has to fit. See, the problem with having an advertising issue that is really good on radio or TV and does not deal with anything else, that they could actually be sending a conflicting message to the direct mail campaign that you have agreed to do. Now, what happens if I say go east and the direct mail campaign says go west? How far are we going to go? Not far. Could we get results from both campaigns? Come on, it's the car business. We can screw things all day long and still be successful, right? We will get results from both campaigns, but the question is, what will happen if your TV, your radio, and your direct mail campaign all says the same thing? What happens then? The effectiveness is what? Very high. You know, I was in Bill's dealership, and they say, man, I got a letter that says the dog on it. I heard you on TV. Heck, when I came in walking around the convenience store, or is it, what's the name of the big grocery store chain you have? What is it? There's something else. Huh? Yeah. And they said, I was walking in that store and then I saw your t-shirt. I couldn't help it. I just had to come and see what's all about. That's called consistency. They're getting what? 1, 2, 3. And that's neat, isn't it? Now, you don't have to go and have the advertising budget that he has, but you can always start accordingly, right? Does that make, hey, listen, what I'm talking about, does it make sense, or do you guys think that I'm like reaching for the aliens at Mars here? Okay, good. Because I don't want to lose you guys. This is kind of important. All right. Mix it up. How are we going to mix it up? Can somebody tell me? How do you guys mix your advertising up? Sir?
You just don't do one particular thing, several different things.
Hey, how about the seasons? Does that make a difference? Like if you have a very cold weather, should you be on the radio?
There's certain, no, you want to be on the radio when people are out.
Sure. Now, do we pay attention to that, or we really don't? Do we plan them according? Do we have an advertising budget for the whole year, and we kind of watch the seasons and do that type of deal, or do we like just, hey, whoever's the next prettiest person that's going to come in and pitch it? I mean, come on, we're all car dogs, but seriously, do we have to be dogs? Can we just be car dogs? Can we just let go after selling cars? Okay, keep your brand and message what? Consistent. Whatever your brand is, and that's why I suggest that everybody goes home and sit down with their advertising agency. If you don't have one, I could recommend one or two. And, you know, we have an advertising agency that we work with. We believe that we do a lot of good job with all our customers, but if the personality doesn't fit or you're not comfortable, we'll be more than glad to recommend somebody that is reputable and know what they're doing. But the bottom line is this. You have to sit down with somebody and figure out what's your brand going to be. And if it's something that everybody is screaming around your city, you have to make a choice. You need to scream it louder and be more effective and smarter and happier and more interesting, or you need to go ahead and switch that brand so they can really differentiate between you and somebody else.